Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Round 2. Apologize for the sound issue, but tonight, of course, I want to talk about Bitcoin and crypto and give you an update. But since President Biden is addressing the nation right now with his State of the Union address, and I believe it's still live right now, I thought we'd look at it together. Of course, I'm going to rewind back a little bit, and that way we can watch it in its entirety, and I'll give you my thoughts about it, and we'll see what he said about Russia, Ukraine, if there's any more sanctions, and we'll just go from there. We'll have a good time together. So smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, articles, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oops. That's not what I want to show. By the way, I just want to start out. Bitcoin is still holding at 44,000. That's fantastic. But I'll get to that. I have a couple things I want to share about Bitcoin. But you know what? I gotta put this on. Let's see if I have my headset. I don't have my headset, but it's okay. I will. Let me get this. I had some sound issue before, right? So I apologize. Let's listen in together. Actually, I need my headset. Give me 1 second. Let me grab it. Oh no, I don't have my headset. I should have been more prepared. Okay, but let's just try it. Let's see how it is.
Thank you.
There we go. Seems to be working.
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. Please. Thank you so much. Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President, our First Lady and Second Gentleman, members of Congress and the Cabinet, Justice of the Supreme Court, my fellow Americans. Last year, COVID-19 kept us apart. This year, we're finally together again. Tonight, we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but most importantly, as Americans, with the duty to one another, to America, to the American people, to the Constitution, and an unwavering resolve that freedom will always triumph over tyranny. Thank you.
He was not he wasn't prepared for that applause.
Six days ago, Russia's Vladimir Putin sought to shake the very foundations of the free world, thinking he could make it bend to his menacing ways. But he badly miscalculated. He thought he could roll into Ukraine and the world would roll over. Instead, he met with a wall of strength he never anticipated or imagined. He met the Ukrainian people.
How many times do they have to just stop and clap?
Zelensky, to every Ukrainian, their fearlessness, their courage, their determination literally inspires the world. Groups of citizens blocking tanks with their bodies, everyone from students to retirees to teachers, turned soldiers defending their homeland. And in this struggle, President Zelensky said in his speech to the European Parliament, "Light will win over darkness." The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States is here tonight, sitting with the First Lady. Let each of us, if you're able to stand and send an unmistakable signal to the world of Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We're like 2 minutes into the speech and they've applauded and stood up like 3 times already.
She's bright, she's strong, and she's resolved. Yes, we, the United States of America, stand with the Ukrainian people. Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving, and the cost, the threats to America and America to the world keeps rising. That's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II. The United States is a member, along with 29 other nations. It matters. American diplomacy matters. American resolve matters. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united. We prepared extensively and carefully. We spent months building coalitions of other freedom-loving nations in Europe and the Americas, from America to the Asian and African continents, to confront Putin. Like many of you, I spent countless hours unifying our European allies. We shared with the world in advance what we knew Putin was planning and precisely how he would try to falsify and justify his aggression. We countered Russia's lies with the truth. And now that he's acted, the free world is holding him accountable, along with 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, even Switzerland, are inflicting pain on Russia and supporting the people of Ukraine. Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been. Together,
another standing ovation.
Together, along with our allies, we are right now enforcing powerful economic sanctions. We're cutting off Russia's largest banks from the international financial system, preventing Russia's central bank from defending the Russian ruble, making Putin's $630 billion war fund worthless. We're choking Russia's access. We're choking Russia's access to technology that will sap its economic strength and weaken its military for years to come. Tonight, I say to the Russian oligarchs and the corrupt leaders who bilked billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The United States, I mean it. The United States Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets. We're coming for your ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy.
Well, real quick, so that's new. So now Russian flights are banned from U.S. airspace. I don't know how many Russian flights there are. Actually, I don't know if there's thousands every single day or what, or there's like two. I don't know the effect. I would say the ban from EU, that probably is more impactful. Okay, but that's new.
He has no idea what's coming. The ruble has already lost 30% of its value. The Russian stock market has lost 40% of its value, and trading remains suspended. The Russian economy is reeling, and Putin alone is the one to blame. Together with our allies, we're providing support to the Ukrainians in their fight for freedom. Military assistance, economic assistance, humanitarian assistance. We're giving more than $1 billion of direct assistance to Ukraine, and will continue to aid the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and help ease their suffering. But let me be clear, our forces are not engaged and will not engage in the conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine. Our forces are not going to Europe to fight Ukraine, but to defend our NATO allies in the event that Putin decides to keep moving west. For that purpose, we have
He said fight Ukraine instead of fight Russia.
mobilized American ground forces, air squadrons, ship deployments to protect NATO countries including Poland, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And as I've made crystal clear, the United States and our allies will defend every inch of territory that is NATO territory with the full force of our collective power. Every single inch.
Of course, the U.S. is going to defend NATO, but Russia's not attacking NATO right now. So I don't even get the point of saying. I mean, I get the point, but that's not relevant right now. We're not in World War III, so okay.
And we're clear-eyed. The Ukrainians are fighting back with pure courage. But the next few days, weeks, and months will be hard on them. Putin has unleashed violence and chaos. But while he may make gains on the battlefield, he'll pay a continuing high price over the long run. And a pound of Ukrainian people, the proud, proud people, pound for pound, ready to fight with every inch of energy they have. They've known 30 years of independence, have repeatedly shown that they will not tolerate anyone who tries to take their country backwards. To all Americans, I'll be honest with you, as I always promised I would be. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world. America.
Wow, real quick, that's actually new. So we know that Russia's biggest export is oil, and now 30 NATO nations will be releasing oil on purpose to drop oil prices down, right? So barrel oil tomorrow will probably drop down significantly because of this announcement to, again, hit at Russia. That's actually pretty good. We haven't heard that yet, but that's new. Let's continue on.
We'll lead that effort, releasing 30 million barrels of our own strategic petroleum reserve. And we stand ready to do more if necessary, united with our allies. These steps will help blunt gas prices here at home, but I know news about what's happening can seem alarming to all Americans. But I want you to know we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. When the history of this era is written, Putin's war in Ukraine will have left Russia weaker and the rest of the world stronger. While it shouldn't have taken something so terrible for people around the world to see what's at stake, now everyone sees it clearly. We see the unity among leaders of nations, a more unified Europe, a more unified West. We see unity among the people who are gathering in cities and large crowds around the world, even in Russia, to demonstrate their support for the people of Ukraine. In the battle between democracy and autocracies, democracies are rising to the moment, and the world is clearly choosing the side of peace and security. This is the real test, and it's going to take time. So let us continue to draw inspiration from the iron will of the Ukrainian people. To our fellow Ukrainian Americans who forged the deep bond that connects our two nations, we stand with you. We stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love of freedom, and he will never weaken the resolve of the free world.
That's the second time he said Iranian instead of Ukrainian. Just thought I'd point that out.
We meet tonight in an America that has lived through two of the hardest years this nation has ever faced. The pandemic has been punishing, and so many families are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to keep up with the rising cost of food, gas, housing, and so much more. I understand, like many of you did. My dad had to leave his home in Scranton, Pennsylvania to find work. So like many of you, I grew up in a family when the price of food went up, it was felt throughout the family. It had an impact. That's when one of the first things I did as president was fight to pass the American Rescue Plan. Because people were hurting, we needed to act, and we did. Few pieces of legislation have done more at a critical moment in our history to lift us out of a crisis. It fueled our efforts to vaccinate the nation and combat COVID-19, delivered immediate economic relief to tens of millions of Americans. It helped put food on the table. Remember those long lines of cars waiting for hours just to get a box of food put in their trunk. It cut the cost of health care insurance. And as my dad used to say, it gave the people just a little bit of breathing room. Unlike the $2 trillion tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans, the American Rescue Plan helped working people and left no one behind. Folks,
I'm confused by that boo. The booing. Is that booing based on what Biden just said about the previous administration? Or boo due to the fact that it was helping wealthy Americans? I'm confused by that. I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's continue.
and it worked. It worked. It worked. We created jobs, lots of jobs. In fact, our economy created over 6.5 million new jobs just last year. More jobs in 1 year than ever before in the history of the United States of America. The economy grew at a rate of 5.7 last year, the strongest growth rate in 40 years, and the first step in bringing fundamental change to our economy that hasn't worked for working people in this nation for too long. For the past 40 years, we were told that tax break for those at the top and benefits would trickle down and everyone would benefit. But that trickle-down theory led to a weaker economic growth, lower wages, bigger deficits, and a widening gap between the top and everyone else in nearly a century. Look, Vice President Harris and I ran for office, and I realize we have fundamental disagreements on this, but ran for office with a new economic vision for America. Invest in America, educate Americans, grow the workforce, build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down, because we know when the middle class grows, the poor have a way up and the wealthy do very well. America used to have the best roads, bridges, and airports on earth, and now our infrastructure is ranked 13th in the world. We won't be able to compete for the jobs of the 21st century if we don't fix it. That's why it was so important to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I thank my Republican friends who joined to invest and rebuild America, the single biggest investment in history. It was a bipartisan effort, and I want to thank the members of both parties who worked to make it happen. We're done talking about infrastructure weeks. We're now talking about an infrastructure decade. And look, it's going to transform America, to put us on a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century that we face with the rest of the world, particularly China. I've told Xi Jinping it's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. We'll create good jobs for millions of Americans, modernizing roads, airports, ports, waterways, all across America. And we'll do it to withstand the devastating effects of climate change and promote environmental justice. We'll build a national network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Begin to replace the poisonous lead pipes so every child, every American has clean water to drink at home and at school. We're going to provide.
Just real quick, I'm confused why he brought in China, talked about President Xi, and then went on to say all the good things that he's going to do in terms of revolutionizing America, its industry, its roads, and going green energy. Is he implying that China is doing the opposite and he's setting an example? I'm not sure why he brought that up. And just a quick comment about how all those jobs were created last year, most ever in history for a single year. That's because the most was lost the previous year before, when the pandemic hit and everyone was, laid off and went home, right? So he forgot to mention that. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Provide affordable, high-speed internet for every American, rural, suburban, urban, and tribal communities. 4,000 projects have already been announced. Many of you have announced them in your districts. And tonight, I'm announcing that this year, we will start fixing over 65,000 miles of highway and 1,500 bridges in disrepair.
That means there are going to be a lot more traffic jams coming soon to your friendly highways. So those commutes that you're not used to, right, will start increasing from 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours.
Folks, when we use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America, we're going to do it by buying America. Buy American products. Support American jobs. The federal government spends about $600 billion a year to keep this country safe and secure. There's been a law on the books for almost a century to make sure taxpayers' dollars support American jobs and businesses. Every administration, Democrat and Republican, says they'll do it, but we're actually doing it. We'll buy America to make sure everything from the deck of an aircraft carrier to the steel on highway guardrails is made in America from beginning to end. All of it. All of it. But folks, to compete for the jobs of the future, we also need a level playing field with China and other competitors. That's why it's so important to pass the Bipartisan Innovation Act sitting in Congress that will make record investments in emerging technologies and American manufacturing. We used to invest almost 2% of our GDP in research and development. We don't now. China is. Let me give you one example why it's so important to pass. If you travel 20 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, you'll find 1,000 empty acres of land. It won't look like much, but if you stop and look closely, you'll see a field of dreams, the ground on which America's future will be built. That's where Intel, the American company that helped build Silicon Valley, is going to build a $20 billion semiconductor megasite. Up to 8.
All right, I'm going to stop right there because there's another half hour of this that's non-related to the sanctions placed on Russia, and there's a whole lot more that I want to talk about with Bitcoin and crypto. So I'm going to stop right there. Unfortunately, if you're looking to finish the rest of this, please feel free to do so by searching for this on YouTube. But, the main reason why I want to talk about this is because I want to see what he's going to say, how that's going to affect the market tomorrow. Specifically, now we have some clarity on that because oil will probably start going down because of it. But also how this relates overall to what's going on overseas in Europe right now. So, sorry if you guys didn't like my commentary, but there was more applauses than anything, I would say. I lost count how many applauses there were. Like 10 standing ovations within like the first 10 minutes alone. But anyways, the two things that he did mention that is new, that we haven't heard before, is number one, U.S. airspace will be closed off to Russian planes. Again, I don't know how many Russian planes are flying over U.S. airspace right now. Is that 2 a day, 1,000 a day, 1,000,000 a day? Not 1,000,000, I'm just kidding. But I don't know how impactful that really is. And number two is 60 million barrels of oil will be produced and released to drop the price of oil. And he did say that was going to increase over time to really punish Putin. So we'll see. Tomorrow, I guess we'll see if the barrel of oil goes down, because today it was above 100. It was like 108. So we're going to see a dramatic drop tomorrow. I don't know. Anyways. All right. Let's get to some of the other stuff I want to talk about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, or you didn't enjoy it, but I'm glad you're here watching it with me regardless. But you know what? While he was talking, Bitcoin is still doing good. 44.3. And obviously I've been making the correlation that all these sanctions being placed on Russia, right, is definitely having effect. Why is it having effect? Is Putin himself buying Bitcoin? Well, there's some theories that he is. But mostly I believe it's from the citizens of Russia and, of course, Ukraine that are buying, because honestly, what else did they go do when the ruble has dropped 30% and their investments have dropped more than 50%, and you can't get money in or out of the country, right? What can you do? Buy Bitcoin, right? And Ukraine is the same thing. Now there's been 26 million in crypto donated to Ukraine, and out of the 26 million, already 14 million of that has been spent. So again, great use case for Bitcoin and crypto, a decentralized network that can't be stopped by any government or any entity, and it's being shown in front of everyone's eyes right now as everyone is watching Russia and Ukraine and what's going on. And of course, there's 40-mile worth of tanks and munition that's trying to surround Kyiv right now. Of course, that is still causing some uncertainty. Today, the markets crashed. The U.S. markets crashed quite a lot, but Bitcoin and crypto did not. Because again, I do believe there's a lot of buying going on, and many people are now turning to Bitcoin and realizing that this is legit. This can be used for these reasons, right? And overall, that's pretty positive. That's pretty positive indeed. Now tomorrow, the market is looking like it wants to flip green. Today was very, very, very negative, right? But again, Bitcoin decoupled. Bitcoin decoupled away from the U.S. markets, and we've seen that for the last 2-3 days now. So it's very positive. So can we see more of that, tomorrow and going into later this week, right? Yeah, we definitely can. We're building that momentum right now, right? We're building that momentum, and things are starting to come alive. And this is why I've been telling you guys, when things are low, when things are fearful, when there's a lot of FUD out there, what do? Well, you take advantage and you DCA, right? Now, in addition, there's a lot of great projects out there. Little by little, I've been telling you guys about the ones I feel like it's undervalued. I've been talking a lot about L1s, right? Some of you guys have picked up on those. I've been creating individual videos very much. Recently, I just talked about Cosmos, also talked about Solana. I mean, there's a lot of others out there. Terra, I've been talking a lot about Terra, right? So let me give you a little bit more news on some of these L1s that I still believe are very undervalued. In fact, I think most L1s right now are still undervalued because even though they have come up from their bottom quite significantly within the last week, if you look at the last 30 days, most are still down, right? With the exception of maybe like Terra, but most crypto is still down. Obviously, Bitcoin is not back to 69,000 yet, right? So there's still a lot of buying opportunities, and it's really good to see that we're coming back up. Whatever there is, this fear that we're going to drop to like 20,000 or 10,000, there's always people that spread fear. That's usually when we turn back up, and it does look like we're moving in the right direction, right? So first, let me talk about Polygon. This is a real quick update. Honestly, I was just going to spend the whole time to look at a State of the Union, but it's just too much of other stuff that doesn't relate. So unfortunately, I don't have as much prepared as I normally do. However, there's a few things I want to talk about. Number one is Polygon. Okay, Polygon, I've been saying, very undervalued, has not made significant moves to the upside yet. Last 7 days, only up about 10%, $1.61. Polygon was hovering over $2 not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago, right? So it's definitely still oversold at this point. And there's many things, good things about Polygon, including Coinbase and their new NFT marketplace. This has been hyped up for quite a long time. Coinbase is obviously the biggest exchange in the US. And of course, they had that controversial Super Bowl ad, which I thought they would take the opportunity to actually announce their NFT marketplace. It's still in development, but they are talking to a lot of NFT creators and so forth, trying to get them on board. But take a look at this poll. Which blockchain are you most looking forward to us supporting in the future? No surprise, 42% Polygon, right? It's been highly speculated that Polygon will be chosen as a chain to support Coinbase NFT marketplace. Now, normally, I don't say that that's a big deal, right? Like, who cares? But because it's Coinbase and because it's their NFT marketplace, it is a big deal because there are going to be a lot of people jumping in. Right now, buying an NFT is still very difficult for a lot of people, right? To be able to install MetaMask, be able to transfer your crypto in Ethereum or Matic at this point, right? Then go to OpenSea and place a bid, and then once it's in your MetaMask wallet, people have a hard time getting confused how to view it, right? So there's a lot of still steps that normal people do not know how to do, right? But think about it. All the people that's on the Coinbase app now, they're like, oh, I could buy this NFT. Click. And now you own it. And now it's sitting in the Coinbase wallet, right? Think about how much more volume that's going to bring in, right? And all the people that's not able to buy right now, they will be. So Polygon is, I believe will be chosen to host this new NFT marketplace, and it will be pretty big. And the fact that Coinbase has been tweeting this and hyping this up for quite some time, that means it's around the corner. It should be around the corner, right? And also, I just want to mention this. I did see this, that if you wanted to get paid in crypto, you can now do so with a stablecoin, USDC. And this is what a new project called On Juno. But you've heard of a lot of celebrities, getting paid in Bitcoin. Now you can get paid in USDC. It's an interesting project, but they are also on Polygon. But this is just a tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's just so many projects out there that's built on Polygon. And if I had the metrics to show you guys, the number of transactions, the number of smart contract calls, the number of wallets being created, per day exceeds Ethereum. Okay, so think about that. So arguably, Polygon is already like Ethereum 2.0 without needing to wait for it. And it's, of course, a layer 2. It supports ERC20 standard, right? And it supports EVM. So there you go. And of course, Polygon also has a lot of DEXs, DeFi. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, right? But, you know, this is just, you know, example like Quickswap. There's many farming pools that you could take advantage, right? There's just a lot in here. So if you wanted to, of course, take advantage of staking, there's plenty of it. There's centralized versions like Vauld or Celsius or anything else, Nexo out there, right? But there's also a lot of DeFi plays too that allows you to stake and earn a massive amount of rewards while you're holding. So why not, right? So that's the first one. That's Polygon. And I bring them up because, again, they have not been moving a lot recently. They haven't recovered nearly as fast as some of the L1s. So I do believe their time could be coming. Now, the next one I talk about is Fantom, which actually did a little bit better than Polygon. But overall, they're still they're not one of the big players. They're not one of the big caps. They're a mid cap. But they're one that I believe is very overlooked by many because of how big they are. And in fact, their TVL, which is their total value locked, is actually higher than many of the big caps out there, right? In fact, if you look at that, they should be in the top 10. And the simple fact that they are not shows that they are actually very undervalued at this point too. And they have not been recovering nearly as quick recently as well. But, you know, Fantom has over 150 dApps. Their TVL, let me just bring it up real quick. If you look at their TVL, they're sitting at number 4, even above Avalanche and Solana. That's how big their ecosystem is and how much liquidity is locked in, right? So that's a fantastic thing that will carry Fantom very far. And just so you guys know, if you look at this chain comparison, right? There's a lot of talk about, say, Solana being very fast. Can handle 50, 65,000 transactions per second, okay? Fantom is not a slouch. It could go up to about 10,000 transactions per second. So if you look at it that way, okay, it's not nearly as fast as Solana. But one thing that people don't realize is Solana has a finale, a transaction finale of 1 second versus 60 seconds. So that is the amount of time it takes for a block to settle, which is much faster than even Polygon, which is really quick already, and even faster than Solana. So with that said, Fantom is definitely a very capable chain, very fast, and they have a ton of DeFi, a ton of dApps, and the total value locked is tremendous. So the second one I'll talk about is Fantom, because I think they're just sitting at number 3. They're very undervalued. They should be much higher than that. All right, now the last one I want to talk about just a little bit more about Terra indirectly, okay? And this is interesting because you guys know I've been talking a lot about Terra. Why is Terra going up? It's because of the use of UST, their stable coin, right? And I did see this. Rune and basically Thorchain. Thorchain, which is a project that's all about liquidity pools and providing liquidity for DeFi projects. Well, they're teaming up with Terra, right? So Terra, again, just getting their UST basically everywhere across all chains out there, including the Thorchain. And soon, right, you're going to have UST among all the DeFi projects that's coming out, including there's a new one called Excalibur. But what's happening right now is UST is going to be made the standard stablecoin within this DEX. And they're not the only ones. There's a lot of others like Penguin, which is within the Avalanche ecosystem, also making UST the standard stablecoin, right? So you're starting to see this shift where USDC, USDT, which used to be the big dogs of stablecoin, the standard, and they still are. I mean, their overall market cap is quite high. But you're starting to see the shift where DEXs, at least, are swapping for something that's decentralized, like UST, rather than USDC and USDT, which is really not centralized. They're not centralized at all, right? So you're starting to see that shift. And again, the more usage of UST, the better it is for Luna. So I just thought I would bring that up because it's a loose connection, but it does show why UST is growing by leaps and bounds. And you can see that the market cap is now at 13 billion. So this number for UST is going up very, very, very quickly. And can it one day reach USDC levels at 53 billion? Sure, maybe not that soon. But if it does, man, Terra, so much Luna will be burned. I can't even imagine how high Terra would be at that point, right? So just to throw that out there. So yeah, those are the three I wanted to talk about. Again, I apologize. I would have more material, for you guys, but I did not expect this to be as long as it was. So I apologize. But we did learn a few things. Biden promised to inflict pain, mostly to reduce Russian planes across, across the U.S., restricting air travel. Also, increasing production of oil. But we'll see what other sanctions gets placed tomorrow. It seems like every single day there's a new sanction, right? Every single day, it's like slow increment sanctions to try to stop Putin, but it's not working right now, right? Kyiv is still being bombarded right now and will be bombarded more. So it seems like these countries just need to come out with like all the sanctions all at once. Like the slow and gradual thing doesn't seem like it's really stopping Putin, but it is bringing economic destruction to Russia, though, and unfortunately, it's affecting the citizens way more than Putin himself. So that's the unfortunate thing. All right, guys, let's do some Q&A. I see a lot of people ask about Cadena. I'm still a big fan of Cadena. Recently, I haven't seen a lot of developments other than CADX, which is a project that's working on, liquidity pools, and their DEX project, right? They had their own token sale, but they're underway. They should be completing their DEX pretty soon, and they already released a browser wallet, right? And there's a few other projects that is working with Cadena, NFT projects, other DeFi projects, gaming projects, right? They have announced they will be utilizing Cadena, but it's just early. It's still early for them, right? They don't really have any TVL right now. So we just need to see more companies come on board and start utilizing them. But I do like their technology. I like the founders, and they have a tremendous amount of backers too. So I do like them. David asked about Matic versus Sol for the next 3 months. I think they're both good. I like Matic more because I think they're more undervalued at this point, and the simple reason is they're basically like Ethereum 2.0 already. They already can scale, and they have complete Ethereum compatibility, right? So there's really no reason why, if you're a dApp maker, you wouldn't just go on Matic right now. Like there's actually zero reason. If you're EVM compatible dApp, you should just go on Matic. Solana, on the other hand, is not EVM compatible, so there is a learning curve there, right? But it is very fast. However, Solana does need to fix a few things. For example, their network keeps going down, and they need to fix that, right? But I have confidence that the team will. And if they do, Solana will come back, right? But you could see they're right below 100. They were, 120, 130 not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, right? So they're crawling back, but they are now sitting behind Terra, and Cardano is just, neck and neck with them. Cardano under $1, also very under. I think they're undervalued under $1, right? But a lot of these are still undervalued. Thoughts on Polkastarter, Launchpad, and Token? Favorite Launchpad? To be honest, Bison, I don't keep tracking Launchpads because Launchpads themselves don't go up in value. What goes up in value is the IDOs that come out. Like the projects that have IDO, they usually go up quite a bit, especially versus like seed rounds or strategic rounds that a lot of big companies get into. But Launchpads themselves don't do all that good, to be honest. Considering swapping my VET for Terra Fantom at this point, just feels like VET has no momentum. You know what? I understand. It was like that for a long time. 2018 to 2020 was like that for a long time until it wasn't. So VET is kind of like Cardano. There'll be long periods of time where it just stays steady. But VET is definitely moving in the right direction. You know, they're trying to get a lot more presence in the West. They're moving their headquarters in Europe. And also, of course, working on DeFi stuff. And there's a lot of projects that's getting involved with VeChain because of it. So it's just a matter of time. But, you know, if you don't have enough exposure in the other L1s, then, of course, you know, that would be smart. You still want to be diversified, I believe. Not too much so, but, you know, in terms of course, having enough Bitcoin, like 50% of Bitcoin, and then 25% of big caps, right? You know, spread out a little bit, and then 25% of mid and small caps. You know, having that diversified portfolio will still help you. Cosmos, I just did a video on Cosmos yesterday, so so make sure you watch that. Let's see. Cardano letting us down? No, actually it's not. It's actually not. It moves fast in both directions, but it's actually still higher than when I first talked about them. So think about that. I think most people got excited and bought them higher, but they will go back up. That's for sure. Diamond Dave, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Is Terra down yet? No, it has not come down. I mean, Terra recently was in like the low 70s. They may have even hit 60s. And I've said, I mean, I was saying at the time, I'm like, Terra is a tremendous pickup. They fell down more than they should have because of all the FUD around Abracadabra and Wonderland and how they were using compounding UST. They were compounding the reward somehow, and then everything went belly up, and it caused a lot of FUD. But that project had nothing to do with Terra. They were just utilizing the great rewards that UST was offering. So unfortunately, that brought them lower. But fortunately, for people that picked up at that time, well, you're up like 50, 60, 70% already from that low. So, you know. People said 50s. Oh, it wasn't even lower than I thought. Let's see here. Hi from Australia. Next NFT drop after Strapon. I was debating on whether or not I should release another one, but you know, with the Strapon NFT, I don't know if I should release. I was waiting for that to complete before getting another one. But I may release another one, something special. Alyssa, I appreciate that. Do you like Curve or Aave? Not really. I think there's better. I think there's better buys right now, especially like the L1s. Please play the XRP video at the end. I think that's what you're asking. Okay, no problem. Tuesday Dragonfire, appreciate that. I haven't heard much about Audius recently. I think they decided to move to Solana, so that's the big news for them. But you know, they're still a streaming platform and used by millions per month, so it's fantastic. They're trying to get into the NFT space to reward the creators, the music creators. So overall, I like the project. The token economics of Audius isn't the greatest, but you know, they already have users, real live users that's using their platform, and they don't even realize they're using a decentralized platform. Moonriver. I mean, Moonriver is it Moonriver or Moonbeam? I think Moonriver is the equivalent of Moonbeam for Polkadot, but it's on Kusama. Right? I think that's what it is. So it's just like an EVM compatible chain that's running on Kusama. Yeah. So basically Moonbeam is EVM compatible chain that's on Polkadot, and Moonriver is the equivalent of it on Kusama. So I mean, it's okay. I mean, to get EVM compatible dApps on Polkadot and on Kusama, I think that's good. But is it like groundbreaking? No, because there's a lot of projects that are doing this. A lot of projects. IOTA just recently announced it too. What's the other project? There's a few projects that announced it. Oh, even Cosmos has one. So having an EVM compatible chain within like a ecosystem is nothing new these days. Dog. Well, I appreciate that. Before, when I got, you know, those of you guys that follow me on Twitter, I went to the mall with the kids and then to the Lego store, and I bought like $500 worth of Legos. There's a lot of new Lego sets, man. I keep buying Legos, yet I have no time to actually build them. So I have like, you know, piles of unopened Lego sets. Just thought I'd throw that out there for those of you guys that like Legos. Quant, I don't have anything to say about Quant. I don't know why so many people ask about Quant. They don't have any updates for consumers. Zero. They're all about business to business. They don't really update themselves. They don't really market themselves to consumers. So I'm actually quite surprised so many people ask about Quant, because they really don't give any updates. So I'm neutral on them. Been neutral on them for a long time. We're going to 56K, then dump. Come on, altcoin season. Well, I do believe 50K is around the corner. If you just look at our trajectory right now, we're pressing up against this mark, which is about 44.5, right? You know, local resistance that Bitcoin has not broken above since early January. But once we do, you know, look at this. This is all like by 46, 47 and got up as high as 51.8. So if we break above this and continue on, the next point we stop at could be at 52, right? It would not surprise me. I look at the recent climb. If you just multiply that, you know, we could be at 50, 52 in no time. I should partner with Lego. Do I own any DOT? At this point in time, no. I don't own any Polkadot. DOT or Fantom? I definitely like Fantom. I like Fantom more. Sol on Gemini now. I did see that. So it's good. It's good. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. What about Arweave? Arweave pumps because Solana pumped. That's always the correlation, because Arweave is the storage backbone for Solana, but they also, you know, not just for Solana, but they're also a great archiving chain, and you could have dApps on the chain too, like emails, and it's very open source. I actually do like Arweave quite a lot, more than any other decentralized storage place out there. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall, thanks for tuning in, listening to at least the first half of this State of the Union address. Got through my commentary, whether it's good or not. But, you know, there's still a lot of talk about Ukraine. The usage of crypto is definitely in the spotlight right now, right, with what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, and things are looking good. Bitcoin is decoupling away from U.S. markets, right? Today was a horrible day for U.S. markets. Yeah, Bitcoin still rallied and crypto still rallied. And if tomorrow's a green day, well, that's even better. That's even better. So tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time when I do my market open stream, and we'll see what happens. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Don't forget to stand and clap. And I promise, because people are begging for the XRP video, here it is.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.